Holy shit, World Wide Web. I'm Shado, the internet personality with an increasingly unhealthy obsession with Burt Gummer's firearms. Which, if the series is anything to go by, may in fact be a trait of just any old Tremors fan out there. The character started out as one of the minor side notes of the original movie. Just so happens instead of the horror movie using him as an example that even the most prepared can be killed by these things, they actually said, you know what, perhaps being insanely over-equipped for potential threats would actually be helpful in this kind of situation. Upon returning in Tremors 2 and getting some very memorable lines, he solidified himself as an icon in the franchise. Which also meant that Michael Gross became the only actor associated with the films who actually acted in everything Tremors, including the TV series. And it also means that in Tremors 5 Bloodlines, they decided the series needed a bit of a twist. This time, Michael Gross stars as Burt Gummer in Africa! Though to be honest, this entry in the series mixes up quite a lot more than just the location. The graboids have a specific genus exclusive to Africa, despite that going against pretty much everything established in the series thus far, and therefore the creatures themselves receive quite the makeover in terms of appearance and abilities. So much so they almost come off as completely different beasts entirely. And no bother, it's been 11 years since the last Tremors movie, so it's better to have different graboids than no graboids. Anyway, let's take a look at Tremors 5 Bloodlines and complete Trembopper Toberween Ovember Oids. The movie opens up very energetically with a survival show starring Burt Gummer, which may be nothing more than a heavy exposition dump, but I gotta give him credit for taking into account the last movie came out over a decade ago, but still making sure getting everyone up to speed on the creatures is entertaining.
Graboids give birth to 3 ugly spawn we call Shriekers.
Ah, so it's official. Tremors 3 did fuck that up. He goes over the rest of the life cycle with animations and examples that will make editing a graboid biology video in the future so much easier, which I don't think is so bad a plan considering Burt ends his own show with And Remember.
And remember, life and survival starts here. Who's hungry?
I'll pass. Rubber Snake is way too chewy. We suddenly jump over to South Africa and meet the first 2 new characters of this film, Bassan, played by Lawrence Joffe, and Brendan Ariet as John Dreyer. Johan Dreyer? The Thunderdome-looking motherfucker. Point is, they're out looking for a spotted hyena, as this area is said by the locals to contain many fantastic creatures. Of course, after Bassan is done taking a dump, he falls down a giant fucking hole that happens to be right there.
Didn't you see this gigantic hole?
I didn't even have to say it. But this cave holds secrets, paintings depicting strange creatures slaughtering masses, and either graboids or really shitty sarlaccs. Can't quite tell at this quality. It's enough to get Bassan to want to get the fuck out of there, so his friend retrieves the rope and begins to pull him out. A tad bit too late. Ooh, just a quick glimpse. Ah, fuck it, I've got the power of editing. Let's take a freeze frame and see what it was. Langolier? Nevertheless, Riddick was not strong enough to save his friend. But fuck that noise, it's time for the opening title, dripping with nostalgia, such as us watching Jamie Kennedy pissing off a rock in the Nevada desert. Just like Kevin Bacon in the first film. They don't shy away from stuff like that, they just shove it right in your face. And that's what I personally like to see. Kevin Bacon pissing right on my face. Point of it all is this scene establishes that Jamie Kennedy is Travis Welker, extreme sports dirt bikeman extraordinaire, pulling off all the sick tricks. Or at least his stunt double, Warren Jermishus, is anyway. And not going to be important for any more minutes, so let's get on with Burt Gummer, Survivalist.
Let's review. Took me 50 minutes to build this improvised clay oven, heat the interior, feed in that snake, and seal the door.
But, Burt, Snake was outside the oven. We all saw it.
Whoa, whoa, oh, that's hot. Ah!
The fuck? What are you, Bear Grylls or Gandalf? But why choose between motocross and survivalism? We can have the two very haphazardly smashed together, like a shit sandwich served toasty fresh at Quiznos. This introduces our 2 leads to each other, providing the Dookie Deluxe for this movie as soon as the cameraman gets out of the way.
Well, I guess that's a wrap. Your gear's piled over there, and thanks for the Vegas gig.
What Vegas gig?
Real Housewives of Las Vegas.
I'm talking Real Housewives. We'll be doing hardcore diaper changing, bottle feeding, and maybe even take care of the kids at some point. The fact that Travis just rolled up in the middle of the show and takes over as Gummer's cameraman doesn't sit very well with him, but the annoyance only grows as the kid starts talking about how behind the times Burt is, that he doesn't even have a Twitter presence. Who would have guessed that Burt Gummer, of all people, would not sign up for a real name where we delete your account Facebook and share all of his personal information, relationship status, and monetary information and location, and just lowjack himself voluntarily for the sake of social networking?
I don't need fixin'.
Yo, what happened to your dome, my man? You binge watch Breaking Bad again? You trying to appeal to the younger demographic? Get a little pit bull on us?
Whoa, Jamie, pace yourself. I'm the critic, the comedic critic. This is starting to smell a bit like low job security. Just about the time Burt is frustratingly accepting he's going to have to deal with Travis's ass, to progress the movie if nothing else, who would happen to drive right up but our friendly neighborhood British guy in Nevada representing South Africa, Eric Van Wyck, played by Daniel Jenks. Turns out he's managed to track Gummer down, despite the man being off the grid and insanely well hidden, because he tried really hard. After all, there is a crisis.
We have a confirmed sighting of what you would refer to as an arse blaster.
That's impossible. That species is confined to the northern hemisphere.
Burt, you've only got 4 examples. 5 if you count the western one that you don't even know about. But the point is that's hardly a statistically significant sample size to work from.
Oh, well, then I suppose it's some other flying carnivore that shoots flame out of its rear end that we have wreaking havoc in Africa.
Post-burrito night Sally Struthers or the like, I'm sure. The chance to bag a Precambrian life form or former TV star is enough to get Burt's attention, but Travis cuts him short. Helping the South African Wildlife Ministry is great and all, but if they play their cards right and pretend like they're not interested at first, it could also mean a big paycheck and publicity for the Gummer brand.
This is our chance to catch you on tape, really doing what you're doing, really giving it to those ass blasters. Okay, that came out weird, but you know what I mean, right?
It's too late, Kennedy. Burt on Ass Blaster /Fission is being penned as we speak. Burt still doesn't care about fame or glory when it comes to killing ass blasters, so Travis sweetens the deal. In exchange for letting him barter, he can have this HK-91 as payment.
I will hand over this beautiful semi-automatic Mr. Shado to you.
It's a rare gun worth over $3.5 grand, but maybe those fire 7.62 by 51. Not shotgun shells. In any case, Travis takes over the negotiations, rejecting the offer to have Burt fly out, when he's already busy trying to catch Bigfoot and Nessie and their hellspawn of offspring. But Van Hammond here sweetens the deal by offering to fully fund your vids for a further 3 years. That actually is the final deal they come to. With that, Burt takes the trip to the cradle of humanity, meeting interesting characters along the way, such as their drunken, surly helicopter pilot, Den Bravers, played by Ian Roberts.
If you need my help, call me on the horn.
Why, what a convenient little trinket. Calling card, bottle opener, and Deus Ex Machina that fits right in my front pocket. The bad news comes hard and fast, as it turns out that all of the guns Burt was trying to bring with him for the hunt have been confiscated at the airport. Not to worry, they've got all sorts of guns that seem to be left over from Tremors 4.
Are you serious? Might as well use a spit straw.
Granted, it's not everything you requested.
No, what I requested was confiscated by your mindless government lackeys.
To be fair, Mr. Gummer, the depleted uranium tank rounds were very hard to explain. But we've got fuck tons of characters to introduce, like Taba, played by Selo Sebotsen, and the little girl Amale, played by Nolita Zulu.
What are you doing?
Zapping worms for bait? Look, here they come.
Well, thanks for giving away the climax. And reminding me of TriStar's Godzilla while you were at it. Besides, wouldn't worm grunting be a little easier to pull off out here rather than having to give car batteries to 6-year-olds? There's also Rhea Rangaka playing Baruti, and Dr. Nandi Mantabu, Amale's mother, played by Pearl Tusi. This is all well and good, but Burt would rather get right onto the hunt, which means we can get right to our next set of victims, Michael Swan and Lucia, played by Emmanuel Katsis and Natalie Becker, respectively. They just made a fantastic discovery of a fossilized graboid unlike any other. Surely this will mean fame, fortune, and relevance that will ripple through the entire franchise. Or they could be hunted and killed immediately. They are being killed, right? I know shaky cam and extreme close-ups make things confusing and still mysterious, but this could also pass for the most energetic orgasm ever caught on film. God, it is! Obviously, word of this attack comes far later than our heroes can do anything about it, but fortunately, they just so happen to be murdered within spitting distance from where they found the unique fossilized graboid.
This graboid is much larger than the North American variety.
It's Africa. Everything's bigger.
Everything except my munitions. This one's leaner, too much leaner. And more dangerous.
Right, so this is a Tremors movie, right? I mean, yeah, you have established that you have ass blasters and you have graboids, but you've also established that they have been redesigned so heavily that they're not really recognizable anymore. I mean, there is keeping it fresh, but there's also a reason that Season of the Witch is not considered a real Halloween movie. Considering they have no leads other than the fact that people are dead, and evidence suggests the creatures are fucking huge, Gummer plans to load up and keep a lookout. His new assistant, however, seems more interested in hanging around the hot doctor babe who's already spoken for. So we've got a tribal dance scene where they go over the history of the creatures in Africa, where there is no history of the creatures in Africa. They went over this many times. The incident in Nevada in 1990 was the first instance ever in recorded history where people actually had contact with graboids. This has been a cornerstone of the lore for a while, yet they have tribal dances dedicated to them in Africa. Was the Graboid arcade game really that popular?
Our ancestors hunting the Inkanyamba in Impundulu.
What's that?
Impundulu. It's what you call the ass blaster.
Ass blaster.
Yeah.
I had enough red cutting in the last movie. You can stop now.
What you call the ass blaster in our language, the word means lightning bird.
For fuck's sake, stop changing shit! I have no sentimental love of the name Ass Blaster, but you are changing so much it feels like you're trying desperately to distance yourself from Tremors movies in a Tremors movie. Fucking DC, are you trying to emulate that kind of stuff? Don't. You're already a third of the way there. Stop now, please. If changing the history and the name isn't enough for you, don't worry. We get our first glimpse of a native African ass lightning blaster bird, and it looks nothing at all like the original creature. However, an action scene comes of it, as it does battle with Taba and Burt, resulting in one bagged ass bird. Only problem is there was more than one of them. Given the choice between them, Taba was probably the most filling. Or not, as the creature didn't even need his big flaming fart powers to get off the ground. Heading out with the spare road warrior, Burt tracks down Taba, who has seen better days, but the monster is nowhere in sight. So donning thermal-blocking clothes, he moves in to investigate.
You got one of those bull guns for me, princess?
Turn on the AC if you want to hide your heat signature.
As a special bonus, that'll heat up the engine, providing a decoy 3 feet in front of you. Also, slather this barbecue sauce all over your face. It'll help hide your heat signature. Trust me, it's my own brand. It doesn't take long to start wondering why the hell the beast just left him there, and the fact is, this looks like a trap. Probably because it is. Not a trap to kill them, mind you, just scare them. Seems like the ass splashers have been playing too much Five Nights at Freddy's. Which is enough to terrify the fuck out of our overly stuck-up head-up-his-own-ass helper, quite especially when the creature slams down 3 feet in front of him on the hot engine. Not to fear, for the Gummer is here. Fucking hell, now I'm left to wonder why the hell they haven't invited Michael Gross to be in an Expendables movie.
You're like a freaking Rambo.
He still needs exploding arrows. As the body count rises, Burt is in no mood to call it a day, stopping back at camp just long enough to yell at Travis for being a useless AWOL piece of shit whose comic relief is not needed nor wanted. Resupply, and regroup with Beat from Jet Set Radio Future. You know, if it wasn't made for Xbox One, but was made for Xbox One. And then Monkey Wrench Wyack, because why head out and kill the horrible monster when you could introduce arbitrary pointless difficulty into the situation?
Remember, Mr. Gummer, capture, not kill.
What do you think this is, a fucking Snorlax? Fortunately, while they have shit for guns, Van Wyck's spare asshole happens to have high-quality tranquilizer darts, allowing them to close in on the ass blaster, aka Lightning Bird, aka Zapdos. Anyhow, Grunt uses tranquilizer. It's not very effective. Therefore, Ass Blaster uses Fly, and Burt uses motherfucking full auto on that sumbitch till it explodes.
Ass blast flambe.
Good, I can stop making up names for him now. Van Wyck is less pleased, but mostly about the fact that they killed the ass blaster. However, something survived the explosion. The graboid egg.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to take that little moneymaker from you.
What are you doing?
I'm the bad guy. Really surprised you didn't notice. British accent and all. We're either bad guys or scientists. Not many career choices back home, I'm afraid. Yeps, turns out there is no South African Wildlife Ministry. Van Prick here is a poacher, and was looking to upgrade from the old ivory trade and move up to the much rarer and much more valuable Africanized graboids. But he's not all bad. He's just gonna put Burt in a cage to die.
Kill me. But you won't cage me.
Okay, maybe you can cage me. But you can't afford to fund my show for 3 years, I know that much by now. Anywho, this starts the long scene of Burt going crazy in the cage as he tries and fails to escape, but employs his survival skills as best he can. It can be summed up pretty well by this part.
Definitely an acquired taste.
Okay, I'm starting to see a few more reasons why Heather might have left him. Not to fear, for Travis has come to save the day. Problem is the graboids are drawing close, so he just takes Burt for a rather bumpy ride, ending it safely on some hard-fucking rocks.
You damn near broke every bone in my body.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with me saving your life?
Well, if he's still breathing, it means he can sue. After Burt brings Travis up to speed, they find out their new problem is that the fuel line broke, they have no gas, and have to find high ground if they hope to get a cell signal. On their hike, they also found out what remains of Van Dildo's car, with no sign of him or the egg. Also, at the same time, there's a spare ass blaster terrorizing the people back at camp. Oh dear, the fecal projectile is really colliding with the turbine. Taking refuge inside, they dive into the kitchen. That looks really damn familiar. Movie? If you're gonna try so hard to not be Tremors, do not, at the same time, try to be Jurassic Park. Then again, in JP, the raptor wasn't taken out by a badass babe with a recurve bow. With that out of the way, we teleport back to Burt and Travis, who have now tracked down Van Bad Guy, running for his life from a new threat.
Are you freaking kidding me? The tentacles have detached from the graboid.
This gives credence to the fan theory that it's actually the tentacles themselves that become the Shriekers. Except for the fact that in this movie they never become Shriekers. Ever.
Why is it the critical, need-to-know information never gets to Burt Gummer?
It's because you give some of your best performances when you're frustrated. This means all that's left is to introduce the new graboid. Like, now. Which fucking flies out of the ground to kill its prey. It really makes you wonder how the hell it was out here for so long and nobody noticed. But it's also entirely redesigned and entirely CGI. On the plus side, it is very good CGI, especially for a direct-to-video production. Take that, Asylum. Not like you even fucking try or care. Stranded on the rock, they find they are located near a small cave where the graboid tentacles took the egg. After much arguing, it is decided that Jamie Kennedy is much less important than Michael Gross, so the new guy heads into danger. Burt takes the time to use the plot-relevant bottle opener to get Den to fly in and save the day.
Well, I got a couple of rocket pods I took off from MiG-23 in the border war. It's too much, eh?
Just right.
Because, you know, graboids have tanks. Africanized and militarized. The world is fucked. Much like Jimmy Kennedy, who discovers that this cave is the hive of the creature. Yeah, they have those now. And Ass Blaster Central. So he must run away from a moderately adequate explosion. I just love his face in that shot. It's like he just realized that while he dropped the grenade, he also lost his Apple Watch in there. So that's the hive they must destroy to save South Africa from certain digestion. Fortunately, Den swoops in just now to provide support. Bad news is he also provides an entree. You didn't really need a co-pilot before, though. Where did he come from? Don't get me wrong, he was handy to have around, especially for this, but what exactly could he do that Den couldn't? You know, Den, you didn't really have to take that to heart. Thing is, despite the giant monster's gunfire, screaming, and explosions, it seems the nearby herd of cattle hasn't been spooked. This is very convenient for the plot, allowing them to run on the soft ground, lost in the stampede, all the way back up to the helicopter. Neither of them know how to fly, but Burt can at least poke around on things until they find which button makes shit blow up. Now, this is making me wonder exactly how much a helicopter and missiles would cost a civilian.
Ask FPS Russia. He's giving them out this month.
Now they have to deal with the rest, and the fact that they can't fly. Fortunately, it turns out the pilot is actually still alive. The graboid spat him out.
Spat you out? Yeah, tickle the insides of her belly a little bit.
Been there, done that, my man.
Except for me, it was with a barrel and a motherfucking chainsaw! Point is, it's climax time. They fly out of there and head back to the village where the living graboid is surely headed. Upon reaching it, they make a terrifying discovery.
Travis, look! A Mothblade! Behind you!
It turns out that Amale had found a graboid egg and was keeping it, which is why the graboids have targeted her. Not to kill her, mind you, but just get their egg back. Because when you're going to take cues from Jurassic Park, do it from several movies at once. It's not going to bother me too much as long as they don't try to beat the graboids with fucking gymnastics.
Stand still!
Well, it's not gymnastics. While Travis uses the power of motocross to distract the graboids, taking advantage of their weakness for extreme sports, Nandi and the villagers combine the sunstorms of the area with a very odd worm-zapping thingy from earlier to create a trap for the creature, electrifying the ground, which is enough to annoy the graboid out of the ground, leaving it wide open for them to shoot the fuck out of it. Which wasn't too much of a help if the thing just gets killed by a bolt of lightning anyway. And this is a pretty shit weakness if you ask me, and they get struck by lightning on the ground and then they jump out to catch the next bolt and die. Come to think of it, exactly how do they survive the first strike? Never mind. Happy ending! The people are saved, the graboid blew up in large enough chunks to roast, and everyone is all happy. Even Burt and Travis have grown to appreciate each other. So much so, we get an updated attract reel for Burt's show. Now with Travis on board as a fellow monster hunter kicking all the asses across the world. There's also this subtext between Burt and Travis and this thing that was really not very important to the plot at all when you get down to it, but hey, that gives you something to see for yourself when you get the DVD. Or if you just go on YouTube and look for someone who has uploaded the entire fucking movie without getting the content ID match that I'm going to be getting for uploading this review. Anyway, that was Tremors 5, Bloodlines. And it's not really a bad movie, it's also not really much of a Tremors movie. Every monster movie employs some elements of discovery for the creature, and that often comes out in sequels adding new traits or forms to build upon said monster over time. Tremors was no exception, and Tremors 5 tries to do this by giving us an entirely new genus of graboid. The thing is, it's so different and so unfamiliar, it barely resembles the graboid it was based on. Not to say it's a bad design, quite the opposite, it looks fucking badass. The thing is, outside of the graboid form being underground, there's little to connect any points of these creatures to the established variant in the United States. The ass blasters look way different, and are even called something completely different to boot. The graboids launch out of the ground like a shark hunting a bird, and there are no shriekers at all. But when it comes to how the movie was presented, it was very reminiscent of the first film. It's very high quality, with good acting on all sides, excellent special effects, and doesn't take itself too seriously. All that makes it feel right at home in the Tremors series, but then it feels at odds with itself for trying to distance the monsters so much from their established breed. Overall, Tremors 5 Bloodlines is a welcome sequel and superior to some of the films in the franchise, but does make me realize that many of the films are done so differently it's just about impossible in this day and age to find people who like the whole series considering the extremely varying styles. Trying to be as objective as possible with the quality, though, I feel comfortable giving it 4 Thunderbirds out of 5. Lightning Birds! Fuck. Hope they don't try to rename the Shriekers Largefoots or some shit like that. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I've been Shado. And remember, BURT X Ass Blasters. Coming to a Tumblr page near you. Who's hungry?
Give the HK-41 a good home. I miss it.